Here we go. Okay. All right. You know you're on camera, right?
I'm on camera. What's up? How's it going?
It's going great. Now, first introduce yourself to those who don't know you from the Killstream audience.
So for those who don't know me, I'm Basil. You can find me on Twitter now at Bazillion Thought, formerly Neo Bactrian, rest in peace. Formerly of the Bear Bactrian podcast, RIP, which we could get into why that no longer exists. But if you don't know, I mean, this isn't I was telling people that you
What
graciously
about
invited me on.
bareback? What's the risk of chlamydia and gonorrhea and bareback? Like it's not that big though, right? Like I
Well,
mean,
I'm Volcel. I'm Volcel. So, I don't know nothing about any of that. So I just thought it was clever.
go ahead. I was making a joke at my own expense, but yeah, go ahead.
No, when I was telling people that you graciously invited me back on, people were like, "Oh shit, that's so cool." It's like I was like, "Well, I was on the kill stream last year. It's about to be a year
It's
since we
almost a
last
full
talked.
year. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Lots of shit has happened. So I'm happy to pick up where we left off and, talk about what's happened
Okay. Well,
since.
let's pick up where we left off. First off, give your credentials.
So my credentials, I guess it's just my credentials are really just not being retarded, noticing, being a media market literate anti-leftist, kind of helping people understand what Twitter is and how the media market works and what, just the nature of Twitter, how it's where we workshop takes that make their way up, pipeline to more mainstream outlets, and just constantly from an anti-left perspective. And yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing since like maybe like 2020. Was doing that with my podcast and things like that, and have because of that ruffled a few feathers, made a few enemies, and had my work emailed and had been doxxed and all that stuff. So R.I.P. to Bear Bactrian.
Well, also, I see that Windows, who is the greatest operating system of all times, of course, has decided to dub my audio. So I'm trying to fix that in real time. I will do that. But so you were on this show last time, and so I don't remember every single thing, but basically you were at war with
The
sections
BAPsphere.
of the BAPsphere. Yes.
Yeah, so basically last time the reason I came on was because it was what we like to call retroactively, we like to call it tranny gate. And a lot of people misunderstood it at the time and still cynically try to misunderstand it, where they try to frame it as though I was trying to get Costin to denounce somebody, or trying. My favorite actually is like people will be like, "Yeah, Basil was trying to coup BAP and become the leader of the right wing bodybuilders." Like, you sound like a fucking retard if you think that that's what I was trying to do. All I was doing was, like I always do with this like media marketing, was like point out why it was that they were putting a tranny in your men's magazine, right? And because I'm able to like
Who
kind of
was the
cut through
tranny,
the,
by the way? Speak that.
what was that?
Who was the tranny?
Oh, this tranny pariah the doll, now called Miles, who was
Do they not
originally.
hang out with Milo Yiannopoulos?
Well, now they're. I was just about to say, before it used to be Anna's pet tranny, Anna Kachian's pet tranny from Red Scare, but now it's actually Milo's pet D tranny
Right.
from hanging out in
Yeah.
Los
I'm just
Angeles with
asking.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually quite interesting, the connection between, and it's the thing, it's like it's just important to notice, right? So it's like noticing like, oh, Basil's fat and gay, and that's why you're not supposed to listen to him. But we're gonna boost Milo Yiannopoulos, we're gonna boost this tranny, we're gonna be boosting, we're very good friends with homosexual Ben Braddock, we're very good friends with sodomite Benjamin Roberts from I Am 1776, that whole type of thing. So it's about like really like cutting through the fat, so when they tell you like, don't listen to Basil, he's brown and he's gay, it's like, my homies, you're all surrounded by gay brown people. The reason they're telling you not to listen to me because I'm brown and gay is because I'm pulling the curtain back a little bit too much.
So what I want to say also is you have been to Afghanistan, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I went to Afghanistan post Taliban in
They did
2022.
not kill you, right?
They did not kill me because Muslims, the Taliban, are not libtards, so they understand that being gay isn't real. And while I was in Afghanistan, I didn't. Surprise, surprise! I didn't commit any sodomy when I was in Afghanistan, so
Now look,
I
no,
was I
okay,
was
all right.
chilling.
Now I'm gonna have to be, an asshole, I guess. But there's no sodomy going on there in
Oh,
Afghanistan.
there's sodomy going on. Listen, listen, listen. As long as there's people, as long as there's
That's
horniness,
what I
there's gonna be
said
sodomy.
earlier. As long as there's people, there's gay. Like whatever. But go ahead,
But
explain.
sodomy is an act, right? It's a crime.
But
It's an
you didn't
act.
engage in that, and they didn't like torture you or like try to single you out.
Quite the
And
opposite. Was hanging out with Taliban motherfuckers at the Hotel Intercontinental. I have a picture, like a nice little Polaroid with me and some Taliban homies. Like, no, they're very cool, interesting people. And no, yeah, gay is not real. I don't know if you remember back in the day when the
yeah,
President Ahmadinejad from Iran was speaking at the UN, and he's like, "In Iran, we don't have gays," and they all laughed at him. And he's
I
like,
do
"No,
remember that actually. Yeah,
but it's because like gay is
because it
not a
sounded
real thing."
ridiculous, right? Like,
Right, right. But only to
yeah.
the libtard Western mind.
But like, so you went to Afghanistan. You did all this. What happened? You used to be in with, and we talked about this last year. But like, used to be cool with the BAPsphere, and we'll get into some of this. But the, a certain psychopath called your job and like tried to get you fired, and you're an actual JD is what they would call it, Juris Doctor, lawyer, right? And so they tried to get you thrown out. I don't know why they would think that would work, but that did happen. Like, what's your experience there?
So like I don't know if I would ever say I was in with the BAPsphere, right? They all knew who I was, and they kind of treated me like the tranny that they fuck at Sovereign House, kind of like a dirty secret that they keep at arm's length. But the thing is, they were all aware of me because when I first came on here, it was like I came on in that kind of like post-left era, so it was like, yeah, I was like
Yeah.
very much listening to people like Red Scare, the Fed Post, What's Left with Amy Therese, you know, and so like from that
I
2018
like
time
Amy, by
period.
the way. I have to say, I have a soft spot for her. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I used to until this recent like doxing
Oh,
thing where
come on. All right, go ahead. I won't stop you, but go ahead.
so I kind of along with Amy and Anna and many other people kind of made this transition from like post left to dissident right type of thing. And so it's like they were all very much aware of me. They loved me back in the day. Back when like my TQ stuff, the tranny question stuff was like super useful in kind of discrediting their media market rivals. They loved me, right? So like when like their rivals like the Fed Post or River Page, who now works for the Free Press for
Mm,
Barry Weiss, when they would get tripped up on the tranny question, I would be out there autistically being like, "Hey, can a man be a woman?" And they would be like, well, my cool trans friend." They loved that, right? But because like that's really all I cared about was like cutting through the fat of like who's on side, who's a leftist, who's a
right.
crypto leftist, using the tranny question as a litmus test. Eventually, they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, we can't fuck with that because we're
So
gonna be
let me ask you
implicated in that."
this. I'm gonna be a dick. Um, what's the difference between being a tranny and a homosexual?
None. There's no difference. The only difference is what's actually in political contention right now, right? So if you and I were talking here in 1990 or whatever, the late 90s, I would be the tranny of the day, right?
Right,
Because
you
the
would
whole
be.
point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Because at
yeah.
that time, we were trying to expand the Civil Rights Act to include sexual orientation, right? That's how come at that time, Sally Jesse Raphael and Maury and Oprah were all talking about the gay gene, the gay gene, the gay gene. And it was like this thing to kind of keep people on a hamster wheel while the left was like doing the legal work of expanding the Civil Rights Act, the censorship regime to include sexual orientations. But that's not where we are today. Today, that battle's already lost, right? It doesn't matter where you look. You go amongst the right, the left, the fascists, the illiberals, whatever. There's faggots everywhere. But today, what the left is trying to do is expand the Civil Rights Act to include gender identity expression, and that's the difference. Where I'm here, first of all, I will explicitly say with my whole chest, gay isn't real.
Well,
Sexual
let me
orientation
hold
should.
on 1 second. Should you be in the closet or no?
So if this was pre-sexual revolution, I'd say absolutely 100%, right? But the thing is, like, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Everyone knows gay people. Everyone in the West is like pretty chill with that. So it's like, I don't think it's necessarily useful to be completely in the closet like someone like Benjamin Braddock is. But I think,
Oh,
and also
whoa, ho, who? Anyway,
Benjamin
go.
Braddock,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, don't.
But for me, it does. It's. I find it more useful to kind of play up this affectation where it's like it makes it very easy for libs to kind of let their guard down when they see me gesticulating in this way and talking in this way. And then when I say things like, "Yeah, gender identity expression should not be recognized in law. We need mass deportation. Sexual identities aren't real." It kind of gets past their kind of rhetorical walls that they build up for themselves. So I think that for myself personally, it's useful to be like, well, I'm Volcel, right? I'm Muslim, whatever. So I don't do the deed, but you know,
But you're
it's
gay.
useful. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You're
Long story
gay,
short,
but
yeah.
you don't have gay sex.
Right, right, right.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm not trying to troll you. I'm just,
No, no,
I'm just
not at all.
asking.
But
Yeah, yeah.
no, no, no. So like that's what I was saying. Where it's like the difference is that in 2025, the expansion of that censorship regime based in the Civil Rights Act is about the trans question, and that's why it's such a useful litmus test. And that's why you see even these people who LARP as Nazis and fascists and Strasserites and whatever, they have quote unquote transsexuals around them, right? They're like, oh no, not the transgenders. We love our base transsexuals like Blair White or Pariah for a time, or Brianna Wu, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's like
Jesus
that
Christ.
is
Brown was
they
a
still,
complete fucking
and we
trash
talked about her
fire.
last time. We
Fuck.
talked about him last time, where it's like,
God.
but the reason why Brianna Wu is around this whole Barry White, Bronze Age Barry Weiss contingent is for the same reason that Blair White was around Alex Jones, right? Because it's the left's censorship regime personified. So it's like they'll let you say like all this edgy shit about like race realism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so long as part of your package is like, yeah, but we're not going to touch the Civil Rights Act based on the trans question because we have our cool transsexual
Now,
friends.
somebody in chat said non-practicing gay. Is that fair to say?
I like to use the term yet unreformed sodomite. So, maybe one day, by the time I'm 40, who knows? Maybe I'll settle down and marry my very cute cousin from Afghanistan and bring her over. But I'm against that just because, like, I don't want to contribute to white replacement, So, like, why would I bring my cute cousin over and have 10 to 15 kids when I could just be like, no, I'm just going to Gore Vidal it.
So, okay, you know what? I'm going to cut this. What about Captain Dreamer, by the way, who got doxxed recently? And he called in the last time we had a conversation with you. He called in and Martin was the name he used, and of course I think that's his actual name. But he said you're a piece of shit, and you're lying about BAP, and you're lying about this and that, and it turns out his own daddy disavowed him in a video. By the way, it wasn't even audio.
Sick.
Like it was tough. Like if my dad, I would consider killing myself, honestly, if that happened to me. And I'm not even kidding. Like I would consider killing myself.
It would be the greatest shame of my life if my father was to be embarrassed, like it was to be ashamed of me. To this day, my parents, well, my dad has passed, but my mom and my dad knew to the end, like what I think, what I believe, who I am, what I do, whatever, and they held their heads high because they're like, my son's an attorney, my son's this, my son's that, my son's erudite, my son's smart. They would never in their life publicly denounce me. It's truly sad.
Of
But
course
about
not.
that, right? It was interesting when he came into the call, when he called in last time, because he was doing the thing that like him, Zero HP, Ren, all these people were doing, where they were coming out into the timeline to lie, right? They were knowingly lying about
Yes.
why the tranny was in the magazine, right? They were like, oh, Astral put it in because Astral's a bad actor. It's like, no, you sponsored Elena Velez's a fashion show. You chose to cover it. You chose to put the tranny in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ren was going around looking for VC capital for Elena Velez, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they had these people who are loyalists, right, who hope to get put on themselves into this patronage network, come out into the timeline, embarrass themselves, and try to confuse the audience, lie to the audience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what's interesting about his docs, right, is like Martin comes out here all the time and LARPs as some sort of, first of all, he's not American.
No, he's nice. He's Canadian. Yes.
He's Canadian, right? And that's the thing. It's like he's Canadian, Ren's British, Costin's Romanian. They don't live inside America. So it's like they don't have to deal with the repercussions of like an increase of censorship and crackdown based on anti-Semitism because they don't have to deal with it because they don't live here, right? But what's interesting about Martin is that his father denounced him using the kind of skin suit, a cynical skin suit of Christianity in order to denounce it, which is first of all disgusting in and of itself, but it's disgusting in how cynical it was, because I don't really think that his father truly finds anything that he said abhorrent,
I don't
right?
either. I don't either. I agree.
But what he did was he defended his own sinecure at his university, which is based on importing Indians into Canada in order to charge them more as international students. So while Martin is out here talking about, oh, total end death and this and that, the other thing, his father's financial interests are tied up with importing Infinity Indians into Canada as student visas, as international students.
Yes.
So then he comes out here and cynically denounces his own son to protect that sinecureship, and uses it and kind of waves around.
I love that you
Christ.
use the term sinecureship because that's an SAT word. But go ahead. Yeah.
It's an LSAT word, actually.
LSAT. You're right. Explain what that means to people who don't.
Oh, the LSAT's like the SAT that you take.
Now
after
I know
college
what
to
the
get a job.
LSAT fucking means, but I mean, explain the word what that means.
A sinecure is just a do-nothing job, right? So if you're
Yes.
the president of a university, you're not really doing anything beyond going to like lunches and dinners and galas and whatever. And one of the things that he's very keen on doing, because it's in the financial interest of his institution, is to promote international students to come to British Columbia to study at his university, because he can charge them, I think the average is 6 times more than domestic Canadian students pay for tuition.
Yes.
So it's like, you have a financial interest in importing Infinity Indians while you come onto the internet to LARP as an American who cares about immigration. It's like, you're a fucking faggot liar. And it's like, I don't care what you want to say about me. Call me fat, brown, gay, this, that, the other thing. I'm honest. What you see is what you get. I'm a Jersey boy, born and raised. I came on this shit because of COVID, pushed me onto the internet. I'm anti-left, etc. I was a Bernie Trump guy. It's all like, there's nothing to expose me with, you know?
Well, you're gay and you claim it. Like, I mean, what else is there to expose, right? Like, right? Like,
What are you gonna do? You're gonna leak the DMs of me thirsting after white men? Like, okay, you just strengthen the brand. But what they then do, and this is actually what I want to get into, it's like what they then do is, because they can't expose me, right? They can't be like, oh, look, actually Basil's brown and Basil's fat. What they do is what this guy Snakeskin did. And what this guy Snakeskin did was to email my job.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that. What happened to you? They tried to get you fired. They tried to ruin your life, basically.
So this is really a good lesson for the audience and how this media market works and how cynical it is, right? So when you think of these notable figures, any notable figure you can name, right? Whether it's Anna Katchy, Martin, whatever, they are online as much as you or I or anyone else is, right?
Sure.
But they're not necessarily on the timeline. They're in the group chats, right? So it's always important to pay attention to what brings them out onto the timeline to do the work, as I like to say, right? Because anything that goes on a timeline is meant to be PR to funnel you in one way or another to a Patreon, a podcast, some sort of value extracting medium. So what happened was, I saw Anna Katchian, right? Say something like, the measure of a good person is not what their like political beliefs are, but whether they like go around on the time, whether they go around in the back channels like slandering people, doxing people, whatever. And I was like, that's rich coming from you, because I've seen with my own eyes screenshots of her.
They all do that.
They all do it, because back during Trannygate, she would go around in her group chat and in Amy Teresa's group chat and be like, I'm so scared of Basil. I'm scared. He's a stalker. I'm so scared of him. And I'm like, you're doing that in order to create a narrative around me to discredit me. Like, no one's scared of me, okay? Like, maybe people are annoyed by me, people or whatever, but no one's like physically intimidated by me. Maybe they should, like, maybe I'm not one to, maybe I could throw down, but like, I'm not gonna hit a woman. But that being said, it's like, I saw that shit. So when I saw that tweet, I was like, bitch, that's fucking rich coming from you, bitch. Like, I've seen you do this shit. So basically, and so what she did was she replied, she's like, I am scared of you.
One sec.
Thanks, Respector sent $5. What does Basil think about Persian gay men? Particularly the balding ones. Are they peculiar in the gay community?
I mean, you can answer that if you want. If not, it's okay. But
did you send me something?
Did you hear that?
Oh no, I can't. I couldn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You should be able to hear it, but he said, "What do you think about Persian gay men? Are they particular in the gay community, and You know, basically, are they undercover, right? Should they be?
Persian?
Yeah, Persian, quote unquote, is the term they used. And so I have to go back to the power chat thing to like get it completely correct. But um, like,
Well, listen, I'm always talking about white man this, white man that, and all of this stuff. But what gets lost in that is like, I love, you know, Persians, Arabs, Turks, whatever. I mean, I would never let a black person look at me, let alone touch me. But yeah, no, I love all them peoples. Those are my peoples. I speak Farsi to them. Happy New Year to all the Persian people out there. But yeah, to get back to the Anna thing, I was like, that's fucking rich coming from you because I've seen you do this shit. So when she replied, she's like, you cornered me twice in public. I am scared of you. And let me just clear this up real quick. I've run into this bitch twice in public, in real life. Neither time did I know she was going to be there. One time was outside of a Morrissey concert, and one time was at Sovereign House. Both interactions lasted maybe 30 seconds and were completely pleasant. Nothing to, nothing to write home about. But actually, both of those times, the first time she's like, what's your deal with Pariah? The second time she's like, what's your deal with Jack? Right? So it's like, bitch, obviously you're talking about me with your fucking friends who have an issue with me, but like, whatever. It was a 30-second interaction.
what is Sovereign House?
Sovereign House is a venue that's owned or operated by Nick Allen and run and managed by future Moldovan citizen.
So you'll have to go a little bit further for like, I mean, for people who don't really like, I mean, there are people in this audience who know everything you're talking about, but there are people who don't, right?
Right.
And so I'm asking, what is Sovereign House? What is the Long? Like, what is this?
So to take a step back, right? Whenever you see BAP or Ren or Martin or Lomez or Anna Kachian or Dasha or I am 1776 or Passage Press, these types of things. These are all like just different nodes in a single patronage network that's funded by Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, right? Fundamentally,
Jesus Christ.
What they do is they present the politics, a certain type of politics that's indistinguishable from the politics of Barry Weiss, but kind of give it a little bit of an edgier.
So I'm never gonna get a mainstream level.
No.
Yeah, it's over. All right, go ahead.
It's important to understand, like,
it's over.
are you in with the patronage network or are you not, right?
I'm
if you're
not.
not going to be put on the patronage network, you
It's
don't have
over.
to lie for them. But a lot of
It's
people
over.
are fans of them, so they lie for them and they do all this disgusting, pathetic Janny work. It's like, bitch, if you're not getting put on, if you haven't been put on already, give it up, bitch. It's not, you don't have to lie for nobody. These are not your friends, okay? If you don't have a motherfucker's phone number, if you don't know their name, if you've never broken bread with them, they're not your friend. You're a fan of theirs. And it's like kind of pathetic to be a grown-ass man acting like fucking you're in a Harry Potter fandom, but for like TND and Bronze Age sucking dick or whatever. So so basically, like I said, these different outlets, these different publications, whether it's I 1776, Passage Press, Red Scare, Caribbean Rhythms, whatever, are part of a patronage network, and Sovereign House was set up in order to kind of connect, a kind of libertarian types with money, right? So like Silicon Valley,
of course,
Yarvanite type people with the kind of.
I interviewed
the tape
Yarvin
sellers.
one time. Did you know that actually?
I didn't know that.
He actually was on this show. He didn't know like who I was basically, but he came on this show and he did a 90-minute interview with me. And
well, the motherfucker loves to hear himself talk. So
yeah, I don't think he knew. Like, I wasn't trying to set him up. I just did a regular interview, right? Like, there was nothing, sneaky about it, right? Like, I just interviewed him. But Curtis Yarvin has been interviewed on the Killstream.
Wow, look at you. You're see, the thing is, you're not in the patronage network, but you are definitely a notable figure, right?
Right.
Like, even before we ever talked, like yours was a name that like you would just hear around, right? I don't really I mean, depending on the day, my own self-esteem, I'm like, yeah, I'm a notable figure or not, but like every fucking notable figure knows who Basil is, right? And a good litmus test of whether you should, is like their reaction to Basil. If their reaction is like some sort of like unhinged, like, he's crazy, I fucking hate him, that fucking brown fucking sand nigger, this, that, the other thing, then probably someone, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
that's probably someone that you should like probably be wary of, and is probably someone who is either in this specific patronage network that I'm talking about or aspires to be in that patronage network that I'm talking about. But yeah, Sovereign House was set up as a kind of venue to bring these people together, and that's where you have like the Claremont sponsored event for Chris Rufo. And Chris Rufo, we could start talking. We could get into Chris Brunette about
Yes,
that
and
whole
that
thing.
I did want to get into that because his biggest story is one that I
Wait, hold on.
broke.
Before we get to that, can we just finish up the
Sure, yeah,
dominant story with Anna
finish up.
Cassian?
Yeah, no, finish up.
Yeah, because it's all connected, right? The reason that this even happened was because of that whole getting booted from Sovereign House for their Steve Saylor event. So anyway, Anna's like, I am scared of you, blah 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 blah, basically trying to Me Too me, right? And which is very ironic because this bitch has made a name for herself for a decade-old mild critique of Me Too and the weaponization of victimhood, and now 10 years later, because she's contributed absolutely nothing else to this space beyond like maybe connecting certain people to like HBO executives, or Mike White is like picking up certain things from the sphere because of his attraction to Jack the Perfume Nationalist and Anna and Dasha or whatever. Because of that, she's now trying to weaponize her victimhood or whatever, this fake cynical victimhood to be able to literally try to Me Too me. So what that spurred was one of her deranged fans named Matt McGuire, who goes by Snakeskin J on the timeline.
Yes.
To then threaten to kill me on the timeline, threaten my family, ask around for my name, all this type of stuff, and eventually email my job with my banger fire heater fucking tweets to be like, you have this racist, homophobe, transphobe working for you.
But you're literally homosexual, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, right? Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, go ahead.
It doesn't really help when simultaneously you're making violent threats against me and my family on the timeline. You just look like an insane person who's like unhinged and lost your mind. So, but the point being is that I had to take down my podcast after 4 seasons and 50 episodes and countless guests and whatever. So unfortunately, to a certain respect, they were successful in trying to kind of curtail my outlet. But luckily, I'm still on Bazillion Thought. I'm writing long pieces at this point. So I'm going to continue to be doing my anti-left, media market literacy, TQ, it's all one thing, all of these Basil takes. But yeah, no, Anna Cassian basically whipped up her fans into a
She sounds like a dumb whore, by the way.
Yeah, she very much is. Actually,
She sounds like a dumb whore. I never met her, but she sounds like a dumb whore.
She's pleasant enough, but the thing
is, like, is she a dumb whore?
Yes, because all of her success is actually.
Right. Okay.
Listen, I don't like this person. This person has been very, very mean.
Now I'm asking, is she a dumb whore?
Yes, but
okay.
No. To prove your point, all of her success is based off of takes that she's stolen from Jack the Perfume Nationalist and Filthy Armenian, who have ghostwritten her show over the past couple of years, and all of her political takes she's stolen from Amy Therese. And beyond a mild critique of Me Too, she has contributed nothing to this sphere. Whereas, like, compare her to me, it's like the TQ, it's all one thing. When you see people use it, that's me, bitch. Within 4 years here, I've contributed, right? Over 10 years, all she's contributed is a mild critique of Me Too, and then rehashed, repurposed takes from Jack the Perfume Nationalist and Amy Therese, and I'm supposed to show this bitch deference.
Now look, I like Amy. I will say this: I like Amy because we've always gotten along. But what I'm saying is, I don't see anything original from these dumb whores. Is what I'm saying, right?
The reason that they're there is because there's a certain eye of Hollywood executives, HBO executives that have taken an interest, especially Mike White, in Jack the Perfume Nationalist, and as a result, and by extension, Anna and Dasha. So what Passage Press wants to do is get the
oh God, oh well. What do we have to say about her? Oh my God!
But this is actually an important point: is that what Passage Press wants to get the Vice treatment from HBO. They want Passage TV on HBO, where they're talking about sunning their balls. They have some Bronze Age tranny telling you about TND. So it's like that's why everyone is supposed to just show deference to these two Bernie-tarded hoes. Like, so. That's why that's.
But they're fake though, right? Like, I mean, and again, I like Amy. I've always gotten along with her. She's been on my show. I don't know, probably about 5 to 10 times, and debates and all this.
I have nothing
stuff.
negative to say about Amy.
So I won't say anything bad about her, but it's like they cribbed her notes, right?
I have nothing negative to say about Amy.
Did they crib her notes?
And the only thing that I'll say, which is not, I don't mean this to be mean.
No, say whatever you want. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it. Say whatever the fuck you want.
You know, the thing is, I don't want to be mean because she's been nothing but nice to me. But what I will say, as being someone who's been nice to me, she's in an abusive relationship with Anna Kachian, right?
Jesus
if you're in her group
Christ.
chats, you understand what this is, where she is like loath to ever disagree with Anna, ever countersignal Anna, because she is in this type of abusive
What's so
relationship. Where she
special
thinks that
about
Anna
Anna
is her friend.
Cashin?
Just like I said, this type of clout.
The
that
Red
comes
Scare.
From,
Well, like what? I barely keep up with this, right? So I know the Red Scare, and I know Dash and Anna, but that's all I know. Like, I don't listen to their trash, because I'd rather blow my fucking brains out than actually listen to them. But I know they have clout, right? And I know that they are around, and so. Like, what is so special about Dasha and Anna?
There's nothing special about these hoes. I want you to think, for example, think of the example of Barstool Sports, right? Barstool Sports has a bunch of subsidiary podcasts for all your different niche interests,
true.
right? But they all funnel you back to the same place of Dave
Right.
Portnoy and Call Her Daddy,
Yes.
right? That is exactly what this whole dissident right sphere downstream of Costin and I Am 1776 and Passage Press is, right? They are different vehicles that lead you to the same point of Bronze Age
Money.
Barry Weissism, as I call it, right? Because, as I said, so like a lot of people, right, the whole dissident right media market is bifurcated into two camps. You have the BAPsphere and you have the Fuentes sphere, right? The BAPsphere is funded by people who have government rent-seeking contracts through the surveillance industry and through the defense industry, people like Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and Eric Prince, right, whose contracts very often run through Israel, right? So their detractors are always like, they're Jews, they're Jews, they're Jews. And I don't like to do this kind of low IQ anti-Semitism thing, right? Where
But
it's like, they're not,
are they?
they're not necessarily hand-rubbing Jews, right? The thing
They're
is
just
that
getting paid by Jews.
their contracts, many of them run through Israel, right? So if the people who are funding them rely on Israel for surveillance industry contracts and defense industry contracts, the politics end up being that of Barry Weiss. Putting aside the fact that Barry Weiss herself is very much
It's total joke
in this,
almost.
in this
Like
sphere.
in most of the sphere, I feel like she's considered a joke. But Anna Kasparian and not Kasparian, but Anna and whatever the fuck her other name is, Red Scare, the Red Scare chicks. They're considered like based and red pilled, right? And you should listen to them. And Kasparian, that's totally different. That's you know,
Well, I don't
Turks.
trust Armenian hoes named Anna. Let's just make you can make a rule out of it. Don't trust Armenian hoes named Anna. But no, it's exactly true. They've contributed nothing beyond shoving their pet tranny down your throat. So what are we listening to them for? Why are we forced to pay them deference? And the reason we're forced to pay them deference is, like I said, Passage Press wants that HBO treatment. They want that connection through the clout that they've built up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess this is a good time to transition to kind of Chris Brunette.
Sure. Yes, please. Yeah, because I you know this already. So he had the blockbuster story of the porn star working for Manhattan Institute, right? And
Christina
so
Button, yeah.
I got wind of that story too, and I even messaged him and I said, "Hey man, do you want to run this? Like, this is your thing, really?" And he was scared to. And me and you both have a mutual whatever, and I ran it, and it had 500,000 views, and it blew up, and it blew up her whole spot, but because that's my thing, right? Like, I'm a tabloid guy, right? And so I had no problems running it whatsoever because it was true. Like, I didn't lie about her. She spread her pussy. She got fucked up, every hole that was
By Chris
available.
Strokes.
Right? Yeah.
By Chris Strokes.
She got fucked up every hole by choice, right? Like, I mean, I didn't lie about her. I just told the truth. And so he was so scared. And, whatever you think about the Groypers, he fucked up that story. Like, that was his story. He had that. Like, that was him. He could have made that. And instead he backed off, and I ran that. I got the glory on that, which is, glory, quote unquote, right? Like, it's about a whore who works for some fucking think tank, right? Like, you can't really call that glory, honestly. But, like, I ran the story and he didn't. And you actually provided screenshots that showed, and I already knew this, by the way, that you had told him about
Yeah.
this,
So
and
I'm sure around the same time
well, I
that
got
you
the
got the
same
story.
screenshots. Yes.
Exactly. Around the same time that you got the story, we got the story over at the Tora Bora Goon Cave, right? So we were all talking about it, and we were like, we got to give this to Chris Brunette, because up to this point, Chris Brunette had been crashing out about the Manhattan Institute because the way he framed it, he was pushed out for not being sufficiently Zionist, right? So we were like, I brought it to him as you did, you know, and was like, here's the story. He's like, oh, this is beneath me. I don't want to do it. I was like, listen, it's your choice. Do whatever you want to do. But then you started going with the story, and then I started like posting a little bit about it. But I was at this point, I was on a locked account. I didn't even have this public account.
Well, my
anymore.
story blew up like within
blew
like
the fuck
5 minutes. Like it was like hundreds of thousands of hits. Like I mean,
100%.
it's yeah.
But this is what's I'm not really like I'm.
I don't even care about her, by the way. Like I'm just saying.
This is the point where
yeah.
Like, I'm not a social conservative. I don't give a fuck who's fucking who. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Whatever, you know. But the point is, like, take a step back and let's do the media market analysis of this, right? Chris Brunette is crashing out over Chris Rufo in the Manhattan Institute. Okay, Chris Rufo, in February of last year, had an event at Sovereign House sponsored by IM 1776 and the Claremont Institute. Okay. And all of this stuff is showing that it's like Chris Rufo is part of this patronage network that also includes, you know, Passage Press and Costin and Red Scare, etc. So
Costin, like, who? Who's Costin?
Excuse me, BAP Costin. I don't like using.
No. Just say it though. Who's Costin?
Costin Alamariu, a Bronze Age pervert, this Romanian.
Okay, I know that already, but I'm you know.
Yeah, I don't like using people's stage names.
I don't either.
So
I use their nom de plumes, but also like I feel it's important for people who don't understand the scene
to be able to keep
know.
Up.
Yeah.
So what I found interesting about that whole thing, right, was that okay. When that came out, you had people in the same patronage network, right? Like Zero HP Lovecraft, Lomez, etc., kind of mildly critiquing Chris Rufo. And people were like, look, what do you mean they're attacking him? And it's like, no. They're not attacking him because he hired some leftist whore. They're attacking him because he hired an out-of-network leftist whore.
That's right.
If he had hired someone like Catherine Jordan Secrets, or Monica Mochak, Mommy Milkers, all these other leftist whores, there would be silence. They would be defending him. But because he hired an out-of-network leftist whore, they felt comfortable to be like, not a good look, Chris, not a good look, not so good. So that's one aspect of it. But then another aspect of it was like after this Christina Buttons story, Chris Brunette really tried to ingratiate himself with the Groypers.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I want to make something clear that, you know, I view myself as a free agent, right? I don't view myself on the field of take sellers. I view myself as kind of like
same
a
way,
sports
not
announcer.
Gay, but free agent. But yeah, go ahead.
We're on the sidelines, calling balls and strikes, making it clear to the audience how the game is being played. Okay, so what I noticed was like, okay, he's getting really close to the Groypers, right? And like I said earlier, the dissident right media market is bifurcated into these two camps: the BAPtards and the Nick Fuentes and BAP, right? So if you're attacking one, you're defending the other, right? And this is how they will defend themselves. So if you point out the kind of media market connections within the BAPsphere, they'll tell you, oh, what are you, a Fuentard? What are you, a Groyper? It's like, no, you just because you know somebody says the sky is blue doesn't mean I'm on the same side as them, right? So what was interesting was that Chris Brunette really tried to ingratiate himself with the Groypers because was helpful to him in his like kind of like anti-Zionist crusade against the Manhattan Institute.
And he's a fake anti-Zionist too. That's the thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Right, because he is
like I'm a real anti-Zionist, but he's not. But anyway,
like
go ahead. Yeah.
Ironic Zionists, whatever.
Yeah.
So very quickly, within a matter of weeks, he kind of flipped on them, snaked them, whatever you want to say, and started flipping on them. And what he really went with was like, oh, you guys are a bunch of pedophiles. You guys are a bunch of pedophiles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Immediately, my hackles went up, right? Because I'm like, wait 1 second. You're pointing a finger at this one side of the media market. Meanwhile, 3 of your other fingers are pointing back at this other side of the media market, which does the exact same thing. So if we think of someone like Solion, or we think of someone like Yaki Slut, these people are ironic pedophiles, right? They're sharing lolly, they're sharing child pornography, they're sharing child molestation fantasies, they're sharing all this stuff. And this is like, and what Chris Brunette was doing contra the Groypers was taking random examples of like very low, nobody lemmings, right? And being like, look at this crash joke.
Well, do you know?
Look at this.
Just for a second, do you know he picked up everything that I said? Like I was not a Groyper, but like a Groyper affiliate, and we had a falling out, and I went on a tirade, a war, I guess you could say, for 2 or 3 months, and he basically picked up everything I said, and then made it like his modus operandi. And not only that, he picked up things that I wouldn't even pick up because like they were obviously false, and he accused me of some things yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, but like other stuff.
Did. You know, he's a charlatan. He's a piece of
Yeah,
shit.
so like he's a
like,
piece of shit. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this goes to the same thing that we're talking about, where it's like, so for everything that he accused the Groypers of, he would use, you know, random examples of nobody, lemmings, whatever, and try to imbue that on what I would call the anchor take seller. Right?
Yeah.
So in any given fandom, or
I like that term, by the way. Yeah, go ahead. The anchor take seller, the anchor, the Nick Fuentes, the anchor take seller. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
There's lots of take sellers, right? So even in the BAPsphere, right?
Sure.
Someone like Zero HP is a take seller. Someone like, you know, Martin is
I don't feel like I'm a take seller. I feel like I'm just a shit talker, right? Talk show host.
The thing is, if you're getting super chats or whatever.
Okay, all right. You know what? Don't punish me. But
no, I want to make it clear. Take seller is a value neutral term. Lots of people like to think that.
But like,
take seller, like
I don't have a. I will have a book to sell sooner or later, but it's Fear and Loathing style, right? Like it's not about like, you know, political philosophy.
There
really.
Is nothing wrong about. There's nothing wrong. There's no value.
But I love that term though, the anchor tech seller. I think that
right, so
really
what he was doing with the Groypers was like imbuing these random instances of like random nobody lemmings onto the anchor take seller, being like, look, Nick, you're responsible for these crash jokes. Meanwhile, take sellers who are prominent and boosted by Costin, by BAP, like Yaki Slut, like Solion, make much more crash jokes, share lolly, share these types of things in their group chat, share much worse, you know, much worse in their Telegram group chats, etc., and, you know, but completely silent on that. So whenever I would see him doing that, I'd be like, well, here's a bunch of examples of BAP himself, Yaki Slut, Solion, whoever, being
Yaki Slut.
pedophiles.
Just think about the name and of itself. Like, right, but yeah, go ahead.
But it's like all these
also, can we agree that Delicious Tacos is amazing? Like, can we agree with that? Or
I don't know him at all. I don't know him at all.
Okay, all right, good.
I hear he has a great body. So I mean,
no, I don't know anything about his body, but I know about his body of. No, God damn, motherfucker. No, I mean as his writing. That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I will say I've read some stuff, and my favorite is when he leans into the race play. Obviously, that's like my brand.
Jesus Christ, I did not mean sexually. I meant. You're gonna turn me into a faggot here before we're done. No, I meant as an actual. I meant as a great writer. I think he's a great writer, but I also think he's like he and I don't speak for him, but you know, he's been sober. He's dealt with some of the same issues I have, and also, you know, he's in with that crowd, obviously, but it's more of like, hey, I just like this guy's books. I just like what he does. I don't advocate for him to be president or anything like that, right?
And
like,
there's something that there's like a nuance there, right? Where it's like, sure, Delicious Tacos is very much like in the you know, the group chats, etc., right? But there's a slight difference where it's like when you're focused on the fiction. I have nothing to say. Go ahead, go off, Mazel Tov.
Sure, that's what fiction's all about. Yeah.
But however, when you use that clout that you've built up, and then you come onto the timeline during Trannygate and say, "I stand with Pariah and Anna," you know.
Well, like, he did stand.
You think that you're doing it out of a sense of interpersonal loyalty. However, you're now bleeding outside of just doing fiction and doing art, and you're engaging into the political discourse. You're engaging in the take.
So you just hit him. because
Huh?
he did stand with Anna, and
That's their friends. Listen, my friends could do whatever the fuck they want. And anyone. I
look,
feel like that's,
I love the guy. I think he's a great writer, but I don't give a
God
shit
bless him. I have
about
nothing against him. That's the
Anna
thing. I
or
don't
any of
have
the Red Scare horrors because I think
even
they're
those whores.
frauds.
I
That's the
don't have
thing. Like,
anything. Even these
I mean, I
whores.
don't hate them, but like, it's
I
also
don't
like they're
hate them, and I don't
fake.
even.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even that, it's like I don't even engage with that. Where it's like there's nothing necessarily wrong with being a leftist. There's plenty of leftists in this country, right? The problem is when a leftist is trying to present themselves to you as something other than a leftist. And for me to say, hey, listen, this is how you're running cover for and it's not like a thing where it's like I'm trying to say essentially you are a leftist. I'm saying, hey, when you say this or do this, you are running cover for the left. It's very dispassionate. It's very, objective and not meant to be a personal attack. They, however, take that critique and that criticism and make it personal. They say, you're fat, you're ugly, I'm scared of you, me too, me too, me too. And it's like, listen, bitch, now I'm going to call you an Armenian
Let
songster.
me ask you
Now I'm
this.
going to talk about the babies that you killed in your womb. Now I'm going to talk about this.
Jesus.
Now I'm going to talk, because you made it personal. I was making a media critique. I was making a critique of the media market, but you wanted to make it so that I'm a stalker and I'm this. Go kill another one of your fucking uterus.
Jesus
Go kill another
Christ
fucking fetus in your
almighty.
embryo, bitch.
All right,
It's
look.
not my fucking business.
How are you right and how are they left?
Well, I don't call myself right wing.
Well, how are you different from them?
I understand what the left is, right? A lot of people, whether they call themselves right wing, they call themselves Nazis, they call themselves fascists, whatever, they don't have a coherent understanding of what the left is. They'll say shit like, it's the Jews, or it's the commies, or it's the Democrats. It's like, no, the left is a political coalition that is funded by tech, defense, pharma, and finance, and is composed of professional managerial class people, urbanites, suburbanites, and lumpen proletariat elements like criminals, illegal immigrants, OnlyFans prostitutes, etc., in order to that are in a coalition together to expand the censorship regime through the Civil Rights Act in order to import more people into this country and to funnel profits to those industries I mentioned: tech, defense, pharma, and finance. Right. So
I agree with you 100% on that, by the way. But
so
yeah,
as long as
go
I'm able
ahead.
to maintain that, as long as I'm able to maintain that understanding of what the left is, I get to say, listen, you're running cover for the left because what you're doing here helps expand the Civil Rights Act censorship regime, right? Or what you're doing here is funneling profits to the defense industry.
Now wait,
what you're doing
slow down. Wait. What is the Civil Rights Era Act censorship regime? Like, what is that?
The Civil Rights Act-based censorship regime is just the censorship regime that we all understand and intuitively feel that's based in the Civil Rights Act, right? So online, through online terms of service, and in real life, whether it's through your workplace HR department or your school's, your university's Title IX department, all of those things are based in and a result of the Civil Rights Act, right? And
That's true.
Civil Rights Act, I take the anti-culture position, right? Where the Civil Rights Act, whether you agree with it or not,
I'd take under position myself too. But anyway, go ahead. That's a joke. But yeah, go ahead.
Whether you agree with it or not, it was originally intended for descendants of slaves in order to rectify the injustices of slavery and Jim Crow. However, it very quickly went through several rounds of expansion, first to all racial minorities, then to women. Then to women.
So people think because what you're saying, you're gay and like it has no merit. And actually what you're saying is like the most coherent argument against what's happened over the last 50 to 60 years, like, period. And so I understand people. I see people in my audience and they're like, he's gay and but they don't understand, like, or they don't want to understand what you're saying is actually like totally dead on. And it's what is killing them. But anyway, go ahead and finish your thought.
If I wanted to look insularly to just the people who agree with us on these things, right, and have a purity spiral circle jerk, then maybe it might matter that I'm not gay. I haven't fucked anyone in 3 years, but like, it might matter that I have this kind of lilt in my voice or whatever. However, that's not my concern. I'm not here to talk to a bunch of people on the internet who pretend to be Nazis, who pretend to be whatever. I'm here to talk to normal people. I could say everything I've been saying to you to my coworkers.
Yes.
I could say it in front of my boss.
It's not against the law.
The little lilt in my voice helps the fucking medicine go
It
down.
does actually.
So it's like, listen, bitch, we agree on 99.99% of shit, right? I just don't pretend to be a Nazi. I don't pretend to be this. I don't pretend to be that. But it's like, you should be like, whoa, Basil's amazing. He gets to say we need to send them all back, and we need to we need to overturn Bostock, and we need to overturn gay marriage, and sodomites should not be allowed to purchase children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But unfortunately, you are so caught up in the lilt of my voice that I use as a rhetorical sword and shield in order to advance my rhetoric, right? Meanwhile, you're in political coalition with like homocons who support gay marriage and sodomites purchasing children, and you're worshiping people like BAP and reading I Am 1776 with 2 sodomites on their editorial board and a foreigner. What the fuck are we talking about here?
So, and again, I'm so glad you said what you said because, you know, I feel like I see people in my chat and they're like, this guy's gay. I'm like, what's he talking about? Da, da, da. And I'm thinking, well, actually speaking the total truth, he just happens to be gay. Like, okay, there's been gay people since the beginning of time. You ever heard of, you know, the Greeks, Aristotle and Socrates?
Whoa,
and all
whoa,
this?
whoa, 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 whoa. I just want to, I need to, because I'm not gay, TM, I need to correct that.
Well,
no one is gay. No one was gay prior to the sexual revolution, right?
Well, it was just Gore Vidal was gay. He got slapped across the face by.
Gore Vidal may have fucked.
Gore Vidal wrote, what was the book he wrote about Hadrian? Oh, not Hadrian, but fuck, Justinian. I think.
Breckenridge. Oh, well, I don't know. He also wrote Myra Breckenridge. That's the only one I've ever read. And also The City and the Pillar, but I never read it.
Okay, I'm gonna
listen. Let me flesh out the thought.
Let me flesh out the
thought. Right?
Motherfucker, go ahead.
Very often on the timeline, I use the TM, the trademark symbol, right? So I always say I'm not gay TM, right? There's black TM, woman TM, gay TM. When I use the TM, I'm not talking about people of sub-Saharan African ancestry. I'm not talking about females. I'm not talking about men who fuck men. I'm talking about the adoption of a politicized identity that is referent to the Civil Rights Act censorship regime, right? So if I came out here and I said, I am gay, my sexual identity needs to be protected in law, you can't fire me because I'm a sodomite, I should be able to purchase children, then I would be gay TM, right? If I was of African sub-Saharan ancestry, right? But then I came on here to say, white people are racist, we need reparations, we need affirmative action, then I would be black TM, right? If I was a female, but then I said I need inclusion into men's only spaces, I need this, I need that, then I would be a woman.
Myron Breckenridge is, by the way, you're right, but I also read Burr, which is amazing. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I've never read it. I'm a Philistine.
Burr is great. Burr is so good. Burr is so good. I read that when I was in jail. To be honest with you, you might not know that about me, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read Burr when I was in jail, and I was like, man. So good, and yeah, he's gay. Like, I mean, what am I supposed to say? Like, the book sucks.
But the thing is, like, the Greeks were not gay. You know, even if they were pederasts, even if they fucked or whatever, they were not gay. Gay as an identity did not exist until the 19th century, right?
All right, wait. Let me ask you this. Fast Gordon says, Ralph, this dude is gay. I think he admitted that, but he said, "Oops, wait, thought that was Beardson."
I don't know who that is.
Let this queer keep speaking the truth, is what he said. So that's what he said. Don't worry about it. It was a little inside joke. Yeah, I read Burr. Julian is another great book. I mean, Gore Vidal. I mean, one of the classics.
But Gore Vidal,
his fight with Buckley on TV, it's like all time like level shit.
You calling a Nazi, a goddamn queer.
Yeah, man, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
Two queens queening out, bitch. I love
and there were 2 queens. He was a faggot too. I mean, he didn't admit that, but like, I think he probably dabbled.
But he wasn't gay TM. Even if he fucked men, he wasn't gay TM. Do you understand the distinction?
Yes, I do.
TM didn't exist until there was a legally recognized alternative lifestyle for which sodomites to adopt, right? Because before the sexual revolution, even if you fucked men on the low, it was very, very rare for someone to be a committed lifelong sodomite, right? So even if you fucked around when you were young, you know, eventually you settle down. It's actually a really funny story because, like, I, growing up in America, being born and raised a Jersey boy, right? I thought I was gay TM for most of my life, right? So I came out to my parents and blah 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 blah.
What did they say?
They were like, they were pretty chill. They were.
No, seriously, no. What did they say?
Well, my dad, I never really talked to about sex or dating or anything like that. So I told him once, and he was like, "Okay," and we really never talked about it again. My mom was like,
"Got it, yeah."
Okay. We also suspect that her sister is kind of
You know, a little.
You know,
Yeah,
you know.
maybe she likes
But
little ladies.
she's been
Yeah,
a confirmed bachelorette her whole life.
yeah. We
Um,
know the deal. Yeah.
but what's funny is that around like 27-ish, I started to realize this kind of thing, gay is not real, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I went to my mom, I was like, who knows? By the time I'm 40, maybe I'll like settle down, marry my cousin, have a couple of kids. She's like, she understood that so much more intuitively. She's like, yeah, when you're young, you fuck around, you do whatever you want, and then you get married, then you have kids. It's normal. Because she comes from, a non-Western culture, that she never had this idea of gay as an alternative lifestyle, of gay TM, right? So it's like, yeah, you fucked around. I go by the dissonance. I go by the I am 1776 Passage Press Sovereign House type of thing, where it's like, hey, what you do in the shadows is not my business. So long as you don't use what you do in the shadows as an excuse, whether explicitly
You
or
made me
like
think of the
subconsciously.
vampire drama when you say that. What they do in the shadows.
Oh yeah. You know that guy Namor or whatever.
Yeah, I do.
He speaks every time he speaks that language. He's just speaking Farsi.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you: Is
But
it
really quick, I just
better?
want to finish that one
Go
thought. I
finish
just
your
want to finish that
thought,
one
and
thought.
then I'll ask you.
Sorry.
No,
So
no, I don't
as
want to
long
cut
as
you
you're
off.
not
You're a great
using
guest. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. As long as you're not using what you do in the shadows as an excuse to get on the timeline and run cover for the left, right? So, for example, Ben Braddock is just like me. He's a sodomite, right? However, the difference between him and me is that I will get on the timeline explicitly to never punch right on the basis of a sexual identity, right? So when, for example, Soul Bra comes on the timeline and says, maybe same-sex attraction is caused by parasites, right? That is a direct attack
Milo
on the
said that
same.
too, by the way.
Milo said that too, but Milo's gay TM. But it's like when he said that, it's a direct attack on the sanctity of the idea of a gay sexual identity, right? But so when he said that, you know who started punching right? Jack the Piss Fume Nationalist. You know who defended him?
You mean Jack Posobiec? Is that who you're talking
No, no,
about?
no, no. Jack Mason from the Perfume
Oh,
Nationalist.
okay, yeah, okay, I do. I
But
do.
when he started punching right against Soul Bra for that in defense of his sexual identity, right, a leftist conception, it was Ben Braddock, fellow sodomite, who came onto the timeline to defend him. That's the difference, right? He's using what he does in the shadows, maybe subconsciously, as a
What he
justification for
does
coming
in
onto
the
the timeline
shadows. That's the
for coming on the
that's the
timeline to
line.
punch right in defense of his fellow sodomite. Whereas, like, I would never do such a thing. I have gay friends, but if they were punching right on the timeline, I would never get on the timeline to be like, no, 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 he's gay and that's okay. It's like, no, bitch. If you're coming on the timeline to say gay marriage is real or sodomites should purchase children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you're gay TM. You're being a leftist. You're wrong. I will, punch left
Now,
against you.
let me ask you this. Gore Vidal, you mentioned a legendary writer. I read Burr. Julian is also a classic. There's several other books that he's written that are absolute classics. And his debates with Buckley on TV, ABC, I believe. If you want to know media of the 20th century, watch those, is what I'll say. But is it better for a homosexual to stay in the closet or to come out?
I love this question because it brings up a really good point. It brings up a really interesting topic, right? So a lot of times when I talk about like not being gay, TM, whatever, it's very interestingly, it's very often thrown back in my face. It's like, oh, he's a self-hating gay. And I'm like, bitch, the only gay I don't hate is myself. I hate you faggots, okay? But the point being is that a rational person in 2025 can look at the framework pre-sexual revolution and post-sexual revolution and prefer the former. The former, before the sexual revolution, was there's no such thing as gay. There's no alternative lifestyle codified in law. If you go out and you're a friend of Dorothy and whatever, you do what you do. But you know what? If you get caught or if you make the wrong enemy, your life can be ruined, right? Does that suck
Yes.
for the people that are involved? Sure. However, now post-sexual revolution, we don't have that, right? Because now there's this legalized sexual identity protected in law that alternative lifestyle that people can adopt, right? And so now you don't have that, but on the alternative, now we're mutilating children. We have sodomites who acquire children to use as fleshlights. We have all these types of horrible things that happen as a result. And I think it's completely natural, completely rational for someone, even if they have subjective same-sex attraction, to say, no, the way we used to do it before, when you got to go to the docks and, keep it on the down low, and, you had your wife at home who had your dinner ready for you while you were staying late at the office and fucking the paper boy, that was preferable to...
So you're saying that was better?
I think so. But I will say, in 2025, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Well, no,
right?
it's too far gone now. But I just wonder because
So if you can
and you know
pass
we have gay guests on the show. We've had a gay co-host on the show actually before. He's been dismissed, but not because he was gay, because he was a faggot.
he was a
That's
faggot.
different. Yeah. See, you got me. You got me already. It's because he was a faggot. But I always wonder, what actual, people who are gay, who are right thinking. Roy Cohn. I just watched The Apprentice, one of the best movies of
So
2024.
good, so
Such
good.
an amazing movie, the best movie I saw that year.
Roy
And
Cohn is a right-wing postmodernist.
right, and it's like he was gay, but he kept it to himself, and he didn't feel like it was good for society for that to be promoted. And
basis
so,
of
what do you
society-
think about that?
The basis of society, the very foundation of society, is that we espouse in public pro-social mores despite being sophisticated adults, and we all understand what adults do behind closed doors, right? That is the very foundation of society, that very basic pro-social hypocrisy, right? And someone like Roy Cohn didn't necessarily keep it a secret.
No,
He
it
kept
wasn't a
it
secret at all.
private,
No,
but he kept it private.
yes,
And I think there's a distinction there, right?
I do.
But what I will say, in 2025, right, if you are someone who can pass as normal, I don't like using the word straight, I don't, because it's like straight is also a sexual identity. It's like calling yourself cis is being a leftist just as much as
just
calling
normal.
yourself
Yeah,
trans. Right, you're just normal.
yeah.
So I will say, if you can pass as normal in 2025, it behooves you to keep it private, because you can be in this right-wing space and trade your pussy for advancement like many of these people do, right? So if you look good and you pass as normal, you can go to a Founders Fund barbecue, which is funded by Peter Thiel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or go to like a Pirate Wires barbecue in Miami and get your pussy hole blown out, but you get to maintain, and you're much more appeasing and appealing and attractive because you pass as normal, so you can advance through the media market more easily, which is what many of these men do, whether it's Benjamin Braddock or Benjamin Roberts or whoever. And so I think that if you can, in 2025, pass as normal and keep it private, that's what you should do, as like a cynical type of thing, not in like a that's what's good for
it's
society.
just smart for yourself, for your own personal
Right,
interest.
but like I said, I came out when I was like 16, 17, and I
Now,
talk like this.
let me ask you this,
kind of
though.
over for me.
Let me ask you this. You spoke about Peter Thiel. He's tied in with Elon Musk. He's tied in with other power players. Is there a homosexual mafia taking over the United States?
This is a really important Basil topic that I talk about all the time, and it's not specific to it's called Sex-letics, okay? Sex-letics. And what it's supposed to evoke in your mind is the idea of dialectics, right? Dialectical materialism, whatever. Because with a dialectical historical material analysis, right, you get very far in understanding how the world works, right? You do an analysis of like, the industry and the civil institutions and the power players and whatever, and you kind of understand how the political economy works, right? From the formal economy to the political economy, whatever. But in order to really understand how things work, you have to go a step beyond the dialectic. You have to go to the sex-lectic. So once you understand where the centers of power are, where the centers of money are, you have to understand who the decision makers are, right? Once you understand who the decision makers are, then you have to understand, who are they fucking? Who do they want to fuck? Whose DMs are they in? And you have to do a sex-lectic analysis. So
Sex-lectic? I've never heard that term before, but go ahead, yes.
Coined it myself. Along with Kickstarter. So that way you understand, the reason why Catherine Jardin's Secrets is getting paid to throw an event in Austin funded by IM 1776 and Claremont Institute may be related to the fact that she at the time was notorious for cheating on her husband at these events. The reason why Monica Mochak Mommy Milters is published in Palladium might have something to do with who the editor-in-chief of Palladium wants to fuck, etc., etc., etc. All of these types of things, where it's like, if you didn't understand that, you would attribute far too much to the invisible hand of the market. But if you understand that the invisible hand is attached to a physical cock, then you can start to understand why these like decisions get made that may otherwise confound you if you didn't know these data points.
Now, let me ask you, and again, we have to have you back on because you're such a fire rod, and I should have had you on again way before this, honestly. And there's people in my chat who are angry with me because I talked to a gay person, and I really don't care. But like, you, and again, I said this about Richard Spencer, and I'll compare him to a gay person, I guess, too. But I like talking to people who are smarter than me. And I like that because it makes me smarter, right? You talk to people who are smarter than you, and it makes you smarter. And you talk about networks that people know things about, and you learn things about those networks that you wouldn't have known otherwise, right? And so I could just sit here in my bubble and just talk shit about everybody, and it wouldn't make a difference, right? But talking to you, I feel like I learned something. I feel like the same way with Spencer. I feel like the same way with Milo, for example. We mentioned him earlier. The other people, like there's many other people. But tell the people just what kind of attack you've been under as far as your job goes for speaking these types of things. And really you were basically a non, right? At the beginning of this, tell them what you've gone through as a result of this.
Yeah, so like I consider myself an anon, right? Even though I face fag, I never gave my name, I never gave where I work, I didn't talk about what I did, etc. I was like, I'm Basil. I face fag because I don't want to be exposed.
You didn't
right?
last time, by the way. Last time we talked, you didn't. But yeah, go ahead.
That's true. Well, because I was in the Twitter space, I didn't know how to do this.
Yeah.
But so it's like, because for example, when I saw
How's Martin doing, by the way? Anyway, shout out Martin. Oh, it's tough. Anyway, go ahead.
He's out here doxing people now. It's like, why the fuck should I even care?
It's tough. It's tough.
It's very sad. It's very pathetic. But the point being is that, I consider myself an anon, right? I never came out. And the reason I show my face, I have shown my face on my podcast, etc., is because I didn't want, for example, when Indian Bronson's face got put out there, right? I was like, oh my God, that's Indian Bronson? And I never wanted to be like at an IRL thing, for example, at Sovereign House or wherever else, for someone to come up to me like, you're Basil? No, bitch, you know exactly what you're getting. I'm, this is what I look like, this is what I sound like. So it's like, I wanted to kind of and that's the thing, it's like, honesty is the greatest self-defense, right? As long as you're just honest about who you are and what you're doing, like, no one can really hurt you beyond this way that we're going to get into now, where it's like, I stick to doing this. I do media market analysis. I do anti-left critique. I do this type of thing on the timeline, right? But someone like Anna Katrin, for example, regularly deals with leftists, like DSA types, Democrat types, Brooklyn, dirtbag leftist types.
Smash or pass, by the way, if you were straight.
Anna, smash.
Same. But yeah, go ahead.
But she deals with these people who regularly will be like, you're a bad mother, you're a piece of shit, your child this, your child that. Never me. I never in my life would do something like that. It's not me, right? However,
I like how quick you answer Smash. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off, but go ahead. Yeah, obviously,
I am a man.
Obviously, I Smash with Raw, no condom. Yeah, obviously, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But the thing is, it's like, because I'm doing this very mild political critique, this very mild media market critique that frustrates her bag, it becomes this vitriol directed at me from not just her, but from Costin and Martin and Ren and Zero HP and whatever. It's this very vitriolic attack against me personally because I'm fucking up their bag. When a leftist, a dirtbag leftist, calls them fascists, that actually helps them because they use that bona fides, those bona fides to then sell themselves to the dissident right market. Be like, look, we get called a fascist. Meanwhile, what they're doing in the dissident right media market is pushing base transsexuals on you, right? So I'm like, no, bitch, you're not a fascist, you're a fucking leftist. But the point being is that when I make this media market critique and I say, well, the reason that they put this tranny in their men's magazine is because at Urbit Portugal, they met up with Elena Velez and they decided how to deal where they're going to sponsor her fashion show and they're going to cover the fashion show, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That frustrates their bag because it pulls the curtain back and it lets these people know. And this is what I always do it for. I do it for the audience. I need the audience to understand that the time. Yeah, for the people, for the audience to understand that the timeline is what it is. It's a media market, and these are take sellers who are trying to sell you a product. And in order for you to not get lost in the sauce, which is what a lot of these people do when they like spend their time doing the work for free of making memes and defending every move of these take sellers, coming out here and lying. She'll put the tranny in the magazine because he's a bad guy. and you're not getting paid to do it, you're a lemming. You're playing in a sandbox online. You're a grown man acting like a child, acting like you're in a Harry Potter fandom. And I'm here trying to shake these white American men out of their stupor so that they understand that these foreign take sellers like Romanian BAP and Canadian Martin and British raw egg Charlie are keeping them on a hamster wheel in order to direct them into this very narrow lane where they're supporting policies that will benefit the government rent seeking of Peter Thiel and Eric Prince and Mark Andreessen. That's why Lomas is always talking about fucking Eric Prince. That's why I am 1776 is
You don't
always
want an
sponsoring
Eric Prince phone? Is that what you're telling me right now? You don't want an Eric Prince phone?
Get your Eric Prince phone. JD Vance is the anti-war guy. Did you see how he impotently said he didn't want to strike Yemen? Wow, signal not secure. Get your
Holy
Eric
shit,
Prince
add me
phone.
to the signal group, bros. Like, yeah.
I'm just here trying to be like, do you see? But yeah, so the point being is that this type of analysis frustrates their bag so deeply that they end up with this vitriolic thing where Anna goes to her lemmings and to her peers in the group and say, I'm scared of Basil. He's stalking me. Why does he know all of this? What's going on? And then what happens is you have this person, Matt McGuire, snakeskin_J, who's currently deactivated, but I think will come back for Easter. Snakeskin_J, Matt McGuire, CEO of Safe Stamp, then takes it upon himself to ask my friends for my name so that he could do a background check, right? Why does he want to do a background check? Because he's heard Anna being like, I'm so scared of Basil, he's stalking me. So he wants to do a background check to see if I have a stalking charge. Spoiler alert, I don't, because I'm just like a normal person. So that what he does is he gets my name, he finds out where I work, he emails my job, and then he emails every partner at my job in order to get me fired in defense of
crazy type shit.
Yeah, crazy person. Listen, and I'll say this. I've been on the internet for a while. I understand how this shit goes. People will talk crazy online. People say, I'll kill you, I'll do this, whatever. Even doxing, right? Where it's like, oh, this is your name, blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of par for the course, right? But there is a certain line between that and I'm going to get you fired and write this email and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, he does it. This other guy who's Peter Thiel's ex-boyfriend does stuff like that. Like, it's very weird. These are weird, very sick people who are defending their take-selling racket and defending the bag that they're trying to secure. And basically what's happening is the bag that they're trying to secure is predicated on wrangling these disaffected right-lib white men into a very constrained area of political critique in which they are allowed to be kind of edgy racist, right? But you got to support colorblind meritocracy, right? Oh yeah, you're going to talk about TND and human biodiversity, but we're only gonna do meritocratic whatever. Oh, we're gonna send them all back. Oh, but we're only gonna send back the people that Israel tells us is okay to send back. We're not gonna send even close to 1 million people a year back. We're not gonna do this. But fundamentally, it's like we have to be pro-Zionist because Peter Thiel and Eric Prince and Mark Andreessen's contracts run through Israel, so we can't upset that. We can't be too anti-Semitic TM.
Now, I would have you for another hour, but I have an engagement with a person named Darkside Phil. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's been around for a while, and I'm gonna do a wrestling show, professional wrestling. Nothing more heterosexual than that, by the way.
Skimpy outfit or no?
I won't have an outfit on, but
no offense, thank God.
you don't. Come on now. Don't make me. Anyway, let me ask you this. Will you commit to do another show? Like, it's the end. What is today's date? Let me look here.
Today's the 27th.
It's the 27th. Will you commit to something in May?
Something in May? Inshallah. Why not? Yeah.
All right. We'll do something in May and tell people where they can find you and give anything else that I left out. Like, we could have touched on so many other things. But I just wanted, man, you were unadulterated fire all the way through. And so, like, I really didn't have to do much. Like, people think, oh, Ralph did a great interview. Like, I didn't know. I just let the guy talk. So we'll do something in May. You promised me here on air. We'll do something in May.
Inshallah. If I'm alive in May, we'll do something.
Well, God damn it. Don't let him kill you. But if you're alive in May, we'll do something. But tell them where to find you.
Okay, so first off, you can find me on Twitter at Basilian Thought. That's BASILIAN Thought. on Twitter. Unfortunately, you can't find me on Patreon anymore because, like I said, Anna Katchian had her lemon.
No shit, they
harass my
got you
job.
kicked off Patreon? Are you fucking serious?
No, but it was I don't want to get into the details, but I had to take
Dude,
down my
that's
podcast.
so fucked up. Like, okay,
very
all right,
fucked
that
up.
kind of makes me mad, actually.
So,
maybe we
let's just do a
should. You
quick
know, wait,
executive-
who got you kicked off Patreon?
I was told I don't want to get into the details, but I had to take down my podcast.
Well, maybe somebody else should have to take down their podcast, is what I'm asking. You know, we play by a different set of rules here on the Killstream, and you know, maybe people who say certain things and do certain things and try to make other people bend to their will, maybe they should have to get taken down off Patreon.
Karma's a fucking bitch. Karma's a fucking bitch. I'll just say that.
So
repeat
repeat her name one more time.
Anna Katchian and then Matt McGuire.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure because you're cool and they're not. And so we'll see what happens. I'm not saying I can make anything happen, but like the fact that they would get you taken down off Patreon says all that needs to be said, really. But anyway, go ahead. Tell people where they can find
Let's just do a quick little executive recap just so that we can let people know what they missed and so they could go back and listen to the stream. So if you're on Twitter, you're engaged in a politicized media market microcosm that goes all the way from Twitter all the way up to New York, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C., right? When you see these people, these notable figures that you can name, these are take sellers, right? They're selling you their politicized takes in order to direct you to their value extracting platform, whether it's Patreon or Substack or a podcast, whatever, right? We've been talking about a certain patronage network that's funded by Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, and Eric Prince that exists on the timeline in certain take-selling publications like I Am 1776, Passage Press, Caribbean Rhythms by BAP, Raw Egg Nationalists and Man's World, Red Scare, etc. That fundamentally exist in order to corral disaffected right-lib Americans, white men, into having a very narrow set of political beliefs, which ultimately benefit the rent-seeking benefactors at the top.
Technocrats.
Yeah. Exactly, which is why they are so adamant on you thinking that any type of critique of Israel is brown TM, right? Because they can't actually engage in a political discussion. All they can do is bury it deep within.
I just want to punch in my fucking screen when you say something like that. Like literally.
They bury
and they have this chick. Her name's Kat something. You know, she's partial Palestinian. I don't know if you saw this. And of course, she used to be a slut. Whatever. But she's actually coming out and speaking against Israeli control of our politics, and I couldn't give a shit less if she sucked dicks on the corners and it was on film. I don't give a fuck. One person, I don't care. Oh yeah, she's Democrat. Who gives a fuck? Because you can't be that on the Republican side. You can't fucking be that because they'll run you out of the fucking party. And it's not about. It's not about promoting Republican or Democrat. Both parties fucking suck. But what I'm saying is, she couldn't even attempt what she's doing on the Republican side.
This is actually a really important point, right? Where when I was coming in that post-left space, right, my whole thing was the TQ, the trans question, was a bright red line that you couldn't cross and still remain within the leftist sphere because it reflected the interests of the finance industry and the tech industry and the pharmaceutical industry, which are the benefactors for that coalition. On the right side, on the right liberal side of it, Israel and Zionist money is so ubiquitous that the Israel question ends up becoming the same type of thing as the trans question on the left, where it's this bright red line that you can't cross and still remain within the media sphere of it.
They'll blackball you, and I'm shocked Garvin ever talked to me, but he did. And so it's on the record. But I will say this. You may know who I'm talking about. You may not. Her name's Kat. It's Pakistan or whatever. It's something I can't.
Is she new? I think I might have just seen her.
She's very new. You know what?
She's cute. She's cute. Smash.
She's cute.
Smash.
Oh, smash without a doubt. Are you kidding me? No, raw, immediate,
Got the leftism right out of her.
Oh yeah. I mean, but they're like, oh, you're not here. I'll show you a picture of her. This is underneath her thing, and she's like, I'm announcing for Congress. And
I saw that. Yeah.
You saw it? And it's like, oh, she used to be a slut. And I'm like, I don't care. She's no bigger of a slut than any of these other fucking sluts that are in Congress. Exactly. And it's not about left or right for me, honestly, because both sides suck. So that's my
well for
that's
me
my whole
for
point.
me I don't care if she's right about the Israel thing. I'm not gonna support a Democrat. However, I will say
I will. But go ahead.
I want to say this really quickly because a lot of people, when you criticize what we're seeing right now with like the no deportations outside of what benefits Israel, they want to say you're a black pillar and a doomer. And that's not what I'm doing. A black pillar and a doomer would say, don't vote, check out, it doesn't matter. I'm here to tell you, and I want this to be the last thing I say that I want to leave with. You have to vote for, this is my opinion speaking for myself. You have to vote for the Republicans in the midterms. If they lose either the House
over.
or
Yeah,
the
it's
Senate,
over. It's
if they
bad.
lose either the House or the Senate, you'll have Martin and the BAPsphere and whatever be like, well, what do you want us to do with divided government?
You're
That's
right
why
about
we
that.
can't send them all
Yeah,
back.
I agree with
You
that.
need to vote for Republicans in the midterms. And then by 2027...
It's not because you love Republicans, though. That's the thing. Like, explain that. It's not because you love the Republican Party. I hate the fucking Republican Party. I hate the Democrat Party. It's not about that. It's because what the alternative is. But anyway, go ahead. Explain it.
But this is the caveat. If by 2027, we are not approaching 1 million deportations a year, if you vote for Vance, you're a fucking cuck and you fucking deserve every bad thing that fucking happens to you. Listen, if we start approaching 1 million deportations a year by 2027, if we're at 750, 800,000, I'll be like, you know what? I'll get in line.
They're
I'll
too
vote for
busy
Vance.
throwing out Turkish fucking foreign students from college, dude. Like, come on.
Right,
man.
exactly.
Like,
Even then, I'll be like, I'll volunteer to upload my consciousness to the cloud in 2033, just like Teal and Yarvin and all of them want me to do as a useless eater. But if we're not approaching even 750,000 by 2027, fuck Vance. I'm voting for fucking Jasmine Crockett. Hail Crockett. Hail
I
our
bang
people.
Crockett too. I don't give a fuck. I have a little chocolate. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I mean? I'll sample a little chocolate. Anyway.
I like when white guys say that because I like the whole bleaching thing. I like.
Yeah, I don't give a
like,
fuck. I'm from Memphis. I fuck plenty of black chicks. I don't give a shit. But you have not.
But thank you so much for having me. Thank you so
Please
much for
tell
having me.
people where to find you, and you already promised May. You'll come back.
Bazillion Thought on Twitter. BASIL. Bazillion. Basil IAN Thought.
And you'll come back in May.
Inshallah. Yes, I'll come back.
Inshallah. And thank you so much. Like, you are so fiery, and I don't use that as like a gay epithet or anything like that. You're just a great guest, and I love having you on. You have so much to say. You're smart. You have a JD. And I like talking to people who are smart. So,
thank you. I had an absolute blast, just like last time. I can't wait for May.
All right, we'll do it. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Boom. There we go.
Thank you for watching this clip. This is Perspicacity. Remember to like and subscribe.